He is losing everything. At what point do you decide, okay, I've lost enough friends. I've lost too much being with this woman. I need to make some changes.
Breaking right now, has James Corden finally distanced himself from Prince Harry? That is the sensational claim made by the Daily Mail this week, who say the pair, once thick as thieves, are no longer close. What was also interesting about this story is that they revealed that Prince Harry and James Corden only became friends after David Beckham had to step in to play peacemaker following Harry making a disgusting jibe about the Gavin and Stacey actor and former talk show host on CBS. Now, I'm going to take you through the details of this story because it is quite shocking and I think shows the arrogance of Harry in a lot of ways. Of course, it was resolved to the point that James Corden actually acted as the master of ceremonies at Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding. I used to be pretty close to James Corden, so I'm just going to be very honest about that, put that out there. And he actually decided to cut contact with me following Megxit, after I broke the story of Megxit and Harry and Meghan moved to California. At that moment, he decided that he could no longer speak to me. Before that, and I don't feel I'm breaking any confidences here, he told me that he had actually had conversations with Prince Harry, encouraging him not to have such a combative relationship with me. So let me just put that out there to begin with. But first, we're going to speak to P-Dina on this in just a moment, though, actually. But first, let me take you through the story from the Daily Mail. So they say that this took place in 2011. This clash took place in 2011 at the exclusive members venue, the Arts Club in London's Mayfair at the time. Corden was in the West End show One Man, Two Governors, and he wasn't able to meet his A-list friends for what was described as a pre-Christmas boys piss-up until after the show. So by the time he arrived and found out that Prince Harry was there, the Mail says that Harry made a blokey joke about the actor's appearance that left Corden absolutely raging. The source told the newspaper James had arrived straight from the theatre and was obviously stone cold sober. He walked in to find a group of drunken men. You can only imagine what he must have thought. It is pretty tedious when you turn up somewhere having not had a drink, but James had been grafting on stage for hours. There was rapture when he arrived. He was a much-loved part of the group, and there were hugs and giggles. The group was pretty large. There were some of Harry's friends, some of James's friends, and some of David's gangs, and they all intertwined. Then it all kicked off. James was furious. It quickly emerged that Harry had told a joke and James definitely did not find it funny. To an outsider, it would have looked like there was a right carry-on taken place. Now, the Mail says Corden is not always known for having the most relaxed sense of humour and that he was on a different level to his inebriated friends. And they say David Beckham, then a close friend of both parties, played peacemaker, reassuring Corden that no harm was meant by the cruel comment. Now, the comment from Harry must have been pretty disgusting because the Daily Mail says they have decided not to share it. But they go on to say there's a real irony to the row because, of course, David Beckham has since fallen out with Prince Harry, all because of Meghan. Of course, she caused lots of difficulties with Victoria, trying to spread drama, trying to suggest that the Beckhams were spreading stories about them. And as the Mail reports, the two men have had little contact as a result. But here's the key line. As for Beckham and Corden, who were once regularly seen together, their friendship is not what it once was. So P-Dina, royal YouTube sensation, let me bring you in on this. Of course, there's that historic incident, which I just think shows Prince Harry is a pig. He's a pig of a man. You know, you don't make a fat joke, which was clearly very rude and involved swear words. You don't do that in that situation when you're trying to show off to your mates. James Corden maybe was a little bit prickly because everyone else was really drunk, but I think it just shows Harry's a bit of a pig. That's the first thing I would say. But what's more interesting to me here is that it sounds like yet another celebrity friendship is now over. Corden distancing himself from Harry and Meghan.
This is such a wake-up call for Harry. I mean, it should be anyway. He is losing everything. At what point do you decide, okay, I've lost enough friends. I've lost too much being with this woman. I need to make some changes. I mean, I think there should be a lot of self-reflection going on. When all these things start falling down around you and these friendships that you've had, it speaks to the level of how he's really his whole personality has changed, and he's kind of meeting his demise slowly because you see all the things around him falling down. I just think it speaks to what we see with his relationship with Megan and everything else around him, and Megan's life in general. I mean, it makes sense, does it not? It makes complete sense that these things are happening to him.
Indeed. And it really seems like James Corden is sad about losing this friendship too. Because after this article in the Daily Mail emerged, he shared a post on Instagram from the author Charlie Maxey, who is one of, he does these beautiful quotations, and Catherine actually used one of them, one of the illustrations for her Christmas concert, and it read, "Once in a while, out of the blue, your heart spins and it can feel like you're falling with nothing to hold on to, but you are not the storm and it will pass." And Corden posted that with the annotation on his own Instagram saying, "We all need this from Charlie every once in a while." So I would say there's clearly some sorrow on James Corden's part about the fact that this friendship appears to be over. As I say, they were very close. He was the MC at the wedding, for God's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean, there's forgiveness. There's time to reevaluate, reflect, and, take some time away and then come back together. I think people can see that sometimes things fall apart, but they're always open to coming back together and reevaluating friendships. I think that's something that would be very difficult for someone like Harry to do because of who he is with. And I think not until he is no longer with Meghan will he be able to really have these other relationships again. I think he's going to be closed off from the world, his friends, everyone in the situations that he has known until that part of Harry's life is over, because we do know it's coming to an end. And that's really the only thing I can see happening. It's going to be like this for him until Harry makes a change in his life to be a man and to stand up for the things that you believe in, your values, because he's been just torn down so much by his spouse. And that's just what his life is going to be until he makes this change that is coming. That's what I see. And I think he needs to make something uh, change something, because at this rate, it's becoming pretty pathetic. I think also with his mental illness that he's, had, how does he deal with all of these frustrations and all of these things crumbling around him? How do you handle it? Because that's something we have to remember. Harry has had issues around his mental health with the passing of his mother. I mean, these are like deaths to him, I think, because these are friendships that you once had. They're not like they used to be. I think he would still have these friendships if it weren't for his wife. I mean, he's made some silly mistakes. He's done some things that have, been wrong. But I think people found it in them to try to heal things, to make things better. Because Harry seems like the kind of person, he can recognize something that maybe he has done wrong and ask for forgiveness, or just try to chalk it up to whatever and to just get on with life. But I think there's something fundamentally that has changed with Harry that has made him this wall, this block that can't really grow further, become better, let others in until he releases that monkey on his back. That's what it is. He's got something that he needs to overcome before he can move on in anything else in these relationships. It just makes a lot of sense that this would happen to him now. That's how I see it.
Yeah, no, indeed, indeed. But it's very telling, isn't it, that he's lost both Corden and Beckham now, and it
Yeah.
just feels laughable, P-Dina. I mean, I was really involved in this story at the time when I was
Hmm.
at the Sun, but it just seems completely laughable that Harry and Meghan accused David and Victoria Beckham of leaking stories to the media when they are the biggest leakers ever. I mean, it just shows you they're on another planet.
Yes.
But
But
look, I've,
Megan did that. Megan, we
yeah.
know
Oh no,
Megan,
no,
she told
of
Harry,
course. But
yeah,
Harry in Australia didn't make amends, didn't go and see
no,
David, made it clear that he was siding with his wife. There was an opportunity there. Beckham still travelled to Australia for the Invictus Games, and Harry chose to give him the cold shoulder. And what a mistake that was,
terrible,
because of course David is now completely aligned with King Charles and Prince
right?
William and the British royal family, and is a real patriot, of course, lined up unlike Philip
Mhm.
Schofield and Holly Willoughby, lined up with ordinary folk for 12
To see the
hours to see the
queen,
Queen
yeah,
line and state.
hmm,
But look, I want to speak
yeah,
about this other issue, P. Dina, which is really interesting. Harry coming to the UK for what is a show trial. It's him versus News Corporation, The Sun. I've offered to give evidence in this trial. Don't know for sure if I will be called or not, but there's the possibility of that. But this is a show trial, and I want to prove that it is a show trial because all of my journalism was completely legitimate and completely legal. And I think someone has to stand up for the good journalism that has gone on that Prince Harry constantly tries to lie about. But anyway, the revelation from the Daily Mirror today is that Harry, even though he's coming over for a show trial, has been offered, quote, limited Met Police armed officer protection for the visit. He has also uh, been offered a place at Buckingham Palace. So I'll just take you through the article. An insider told the Daily Mirror he is offering Harry limited police protection. The Met has been trying to recruit officers on their day off because they don't have a lot of spare staff. It is understood that Harry was offered a place to stay at Buckingham Palace, but turned it down. So to me, this is so extraordinary on quite a few levels, P. Dina. Number one, if you're concerned about your security, go and stay at Buckingham Palace where it's safe and there doesn't have to be all of these extra protocols put in place. Like if you're staying at a big posh hotel, for example, King Charles and Queen
right.
Camilla are not at Buckingham Palace. They're at Clarence House. William and Catherine are not at Buckingham Palace. Why don't you want to stay at Buckingham Palace, Harry? Your whole thing for years has been about the rejection from your family. Surely this would show that your family are actually offering you a roof over your head. But also, most significantly, it would mean the Met Police were not put under all of this pressure. Because I'm sorry, P-Dina, I don't think British taxpayers should be paying for Harry's security when he doesn't need to be here for what is a ridiculous show trial, which is wasting a whole load of people's time and money.
Yes, it's terrible. I mean, that just shows you the child in Harry.
Yeah.
He just doesn't get it. He sees things from a perspective that it's just going to really continually be his downfall. I mean, mistake after mistake and choice after choice, he just does not know how to get it right. And really, why is he not going to stay at Buckingham Palace? It makes no sense. If you're concerned about your security and all these things, just go to where you're going to be protected. I don't understand how he gets along. Does he not have an advisor or someone that tells him like it is, that gives him, the information that he needs to know and to respond to in a way that makes him look a little bit more like reasonable? I mean, it doesn't make sense he's not going to stay at the
Working.
palace. I think he's trying to send a message. He's trying to send a message that, I'm just going to not go stay at Buckingham Palace because look, I'm just going to be a brat of a child and just say no to my daddy or whatever, and to make himself appear like, He's sending a
Well, he wants to be the
message.
victim all the time, doesn't he? He wants to be
Yeah,
the
the
victim. And
victim.
if he's staying at Buckingham Palace, then it's very clear he's not a victim. You're staying at Buckingham Palace, mate. And the
Right.
fact that they've
It's
given him this limited police protection annoys me, because what the messages to Harry in his own thick head is, oh, my bullying works. If I keep sulking, if I keep taking spurious legal action against the government, they're just going to give in
mm,
because they don't want the hassle. They don't want the drama. But P-Dina, just finally, I wanted to talk
mm.
to you about this article on BET. But first, do you feel tired all the time, struggle with brain fog, or feel aches and pains more often? These might be signs of something deeper than aging called oxidative stress. Now, it happens when your body is overwhelmed by unstable molecules called free radicals that can damage cells. Normally, antioxidants keep these molecules in check, but things like pollution, poor diet, stress, and lack of sleep can cause free radicals to pile up, making it harder for your body to fight back. So, this is why I take Clean Being by Verso. It's packed with ingredients to cross the blood brain barrier to lift brain fog, reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, relieving joint and muscle pains, and also improving skin and hair. After taking Clean Bean for some time now, I've noticed less aches and pains, healthier hair, better immunity, enhanced vision, and protection against allergic reactions. Plus, Verso publishes third party testing from each batch they produce to guarantee you are getting what you pay for. So, click on the link in the description in YouTube or Rumble, or head on over to buy.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code outspoken when you check out, and you will save 15% on your first order. So, the address, by the way, is in the show notes, in the description on YouTube and Rumble, but I will repeat it here for you too. buy.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code outspoken. But now, back to the show, because I thought you might have an interesting take on it. It's the Black Entertainment Network, or used to be known as Black
Mhm.
Entertainment Network.
Okay.
And they
Yeah.
ran an entertainment piece by Yesha Callahan, headlined Why Meghan Markle Stays Living Rent-Free in Some White Women's Heads. Despite her grace, intelligence, and success, Meghan Markle has become a lightning rod for criticism rooted in racism, sexism, and the discomfort of white women grappling with their own privilege. Now, this woman thinks Meghan walks on water, thinks that she's made no mistakes, thinks she's absolutely brilliant. She says her new Netflix series is the latest chapter in her life defined by resilience and reinvention. So she seems to be the only person in the world that thinks Meghan's doing really well at the moment. But I just wanted to ask you uh,
Mm.
what you thought about this race aspect to this, and the idea that white women are criticizing Meghan Markle because they are grappling with their own privilege.
Yeah, when I saw this article, I just could not believe. I was like, "Are you serious? For real? For real?" Okay. So what do you call it when I'm doing saying the same thing as all these white women? What do you call that? And I look the way I look. What do you call that? You
Well,
know,
exactly.
race, it doesn't make sense because here's the thing. These people that have these write these articles taken up for making or whatever, that's the only thing they can say. They have no other comeback to make any sense of the things that Megan does. It must be racism. But the thing that's so interesting, how can it be racism when Megan doesn't even look like a black woman? I mean, you can't tell me that Megan is experiencing racism looking like a white woman. Excuse me. I'm sorry, she doesn't. And the other thing is when you make these comments, that tells me that you don't know the history. You don't know anything about this woman. You've fallen and for the okie doke. You have drank the Kool-Aid, lady, because Megan has fed you a bunch of BS and you have fallen for it. Because this woman has not experienced racism. Racism is experienced by people their whole lives essentially. Who was the person that said that they've never been treated like a black woman? Oh, it was Meghan Markle. So Meghan has not experienced racism. She makes you think she's experienced racism because she had an agenda to get her career going on the backs of the royal family. But for these Americans that have these things that they say about racism, learn about what Meghan has done before she even came to America. Learn the things that Meghan has done to disassociate herself with so many people in her life. Remember what I said, that the secret sauce to life is love. This woman has
Mm,
not shown love to anybody. There's a whole list that anyone that wants to know why people do not like Meghan, it's not about the race, it's about the things that she has done to a whole list of people, how she has not shown love and decency
yeah,
to people, how she's underhandedly
totally.
undercut people to try to overtake narratives to make it seem like she's the victim. It's offensive to me that people say that, because then what is it then when I say something? Okay. And
Totally.
all the other, there's other black women who are in royalty that don't have a problem, that actually look black. So it's offensive to say
Well, yeah,
that
Megan,
Meghan.
and Megan used to, when she was an actress, describe herself as Caucasian.
Absolutely. Right. So it doesn't, and it undermines people that do experience racism. It does exist, but it's not like someone like Megan has experienced, that she's experienced so much love from the people of the United Kingdom. But, it's the actions, and this really goes against what Dr. King always talked about. It's like you don't judge people on their skin color, you judge them by their character. And when people say these things about Megan, it's about her character and what she's done to so many people. And this is why myself and others are able to speak so much about this, because there's so much there that she's done that gives us things to talk about. So I people that say that, that tells me immediately they don't know what they're talking about. They're not educated on the royal family, for one, or the life of Meghan Markle and what she has done to people. Because let me tell you something, Dan, if this Meghan Markle would have done what she has done to the royal family, to the person that wrote this article, she too would be saying the same thing that I'm saying, okay? Because as black people, we're not going to, or anyone for that matter, we're not going to allow anyone to come into our household at our grandma's house and disrespect our family, disrespect who we are as a people, and lie on us to say we did something to you when we've given you all these things: the wedding, the homes, the money, the renovations, the love of the people. They came out to celebrate this woman. So don't try to tell us this, because we know you too will not accept the things that Meghan has done in your own family. Okay. So that racism thing is just a cop out for someone that says, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to go default to racism.
Totally. Beautifully put, P-Dina. Always so great to have you. Absolutely adore your YouTube channel. Everyone should follow it for incredible royal analysis. And we look forward to having you back on Outspoken very soon too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.